time for Imagine It. The senior scientist, Carl Nelson's here from the Imagination Station, and it's the top of the morning to you.
Exactly. We're doing all sorts of stuff at the Science Center today with sort of a green tint to it, much like your shirt.
It is tinted.
All for St. Patrick's Day. And I brought one of the activities that we're doing down there today, and it's all wrapped up in that little cup there. If you can pick that up. And before I tell you what it is, can you stick a couple of your fingers in there and sort of like feel it? What does it feel like?
Oh, well, maybe kitty litter.
Okay. It's not kitty litter. It's kind of like gritty, right? It's kind of sandy.
All right, yeah.
It's actually called instant snow. It's a polymer that is a super absorber.
Great.
Okay, so it means it can absorb water, and the super part means that it can absorb a lot of water, like 100 times its volume. Okay? So why don't you go ahead and toss that right into the beaker there. Now, if you or I could shrink down to the size of a leprechaun, perhaps, or even a micro leprechaun or a nano leprechaun, get really, really tiny, get really small, and look at one of those grains, they would kind of be like this, like a big tangled ball of polymer molecules.
And I've seen these toys before, but you have a name for them.
It's called a Hoberman sphere, and it's kind of a nice demonstration of what happens to this powder when you add water to it. Because when you add water, it starts to expand, 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 and eventually it gets really big. Now, this is only a 30 times volume expansion. The powder that you had right there does 100 times volume expansion.
No way.
So this would have to be like 5 feet tall.
Wow.
So enough of that. Let's actually try this powder here.
Okay.
I'm going to toss in some water, and we're going to see how much of a super absorber this is.
Whoa.
Did you notice also that the white powder kind of turned to a green powder there?
Yeah.
Now, there's millions of those little grains in there. As they slowly start to absorb that water, they start to expand.
Oh, wow.
They're going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And this stuff is used on movie sets as sort of artificial snow because you can keep it sort of dehydrated, add water, and there you go. It's getting bigger and bigger. And let's just...
Looks a bit like couscous.
Exactly. In fact, if I sprinkle it on the table here, we can let some of the grains at the bottom start to expand even more. And, you know, Tony, we started with this volume of powder, and we end up with a ton of green snow.
Wow.
Now, you realize leprechauns like to play tricks and stuff as well, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
They're not limited just to
vibrating a little too.
Just to green snow. They can do the whole rainbow as they're, chasing the rainbow, looking for that pot of gold. So I brought with some blue snow. I'll let you, if you want, you can toss that out.
As we skittle our way down here.
So it takes a little bit of time for the molecules to attract, or to expand, I should say.
Yeah.
But as they start to come out, you can get the whole rainbow of snow here.
But you wouldn't recommend eating it, because
I wouldn't recommend eating it. I didn't bring the yellow snow because that's made a totally different way.
And the thing is, when you go down to Imagination Station, your brain will fill up with knowledge as well. It will just expand like the Hoberman sphere. And you can check out the hours here on your screen with the Imagination Station. Tuesday through Saturday open. Today doing the awesome demonstrations.
We're doing all sorts of green science today.
Green science. Nothing to do with anything gross, though.
No, nothing too gross.
Okay.
Nothing too gross.
All right. Carl Nelson from Imagination Station. That's Imagine It. Thanks very much. Time now to check in with Joe in sports.